Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for watching another edition of Adam Interviews. We continue to bring you some of the more talented, innovative people in our area and those who are coming to our area. And that is why I am so happy to introduce to you Carter Burwell, who is joining us tomorrow as part of the Soundtrax Film Music Festival, which is being run through Eastman School of Music. Thank you so much, Carter, not just for joining me, but for coming to Rochester. Really appreciate it.
I'm really looking forward to it. I've never been to Eastman, but of course I know about it. Everyone does.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's come as a bit of a surprise to us here in Rochester that we've been able to pull this off. I don't think there's been anything like this in North America. And the the industry of crafting music for TV, movies, and of course video games, it's its own thing. Each one of those is its own thing. And you have been doing it for so long within film, some of the most memorable movies of our time. It's your music that has moved the score, the film forward, your score, a lot of the Coen brother movies. So before we get into that and the accolades, I was just wondering when did the inspiration hit you when you realized you were going to move your musical talent in this direction?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because it the it didn't really hit me until I'd already done it. Basically, I had no ambition to do this as a career, but the Coen Brothers sound editor, working on their first film, Blood Simple, he called me up. He knew my music from playing in clubs in New York, just as an avocation, just as for fun, really. He called me up and said he was working on this film by two young guys, are the same age as us. There's no money, but would they need music? Would I want to do it? And for a lark, I said, yeah, sure. Um, and then when the movie came out, eventually other people started calling me and asking me to do the same thing. So it honestly, it's a career that just fell on me.
I mean, that's obviously remarkable. There is a certain degree of luck. You know, you kind of
There is.
attach your your future to one particular horse there, and then it takes off. But while you were doing it that first time, did something click for you, or was it the same type of musical creation experience that you had experienced in your other musical endeavors?
Well, I really love film, and I had studied some film in college, and I would never have dared call myself a composer at that point. I was really just a musician playing rock and roll, but I did love film, and so I was very excited to be working in film. And I made some animated films myself before doing Blood Simple. So I mostly thought of it in terms of making a film rather than in terms of composing music. And in fact, I still view it that way. I think of myself as a filmmaker. If what I'm trying to do is help to create a memorable film experience, and if it's good music, which of course I hope it is, that's great too. But mostly, I think in terms of creating a cinematic experience for the audience.
So did when you are looking at it, how much of the film do you need to know about? Do you just read the script? Do you see the video? What do you need for you to sit down and go, okay, I can do this?
Well, the more the better. The more that I know, the better. I can't write really for just a single scene because unless I know where the movie is going, where how we need to conclude it at the end, I'm not sure what to do. That's one reason why, for instance, I very find television very difficult, episodic television, where you never know. Maybe there is no end. Maybe there's going to be another season. Maybe there's going to be another season. With a film, I want to definitely have read the script and ideally have seen a rough cut of the film so that I can plan out the entire arc of the music, how the different themes are going to develop and relate to each other, so that when you get to the end, it's a complete experience. It's like a little world unto itself.
Is it kind of I know you're talking to someone who has dabbled in music, like I do the great courses in music, and that's my
Sure.
experience. But it talks about symphony. You take a motive or a motif and you kind of develop it over time. Is it similar with scores for movies?
It's very similar. We speak in exactly the same terms in terms of themes, motifs, how they will develop, and it's a tool that I guess we sort of thank Richard Wagner for. But the fact is that if you can associate a musical theme with a character or a story element, then you can still reference them even when they're not on the screen by using that theme. You can um, interweave that theme with other themes, and it's landing subconsciously for the audience, but it is having an effect. It is creating a richer experience for them as these themes kind of guide them through the story.
Do you do you still play out? Do you still perform in other avenues?
Uh, Once in a blue moon, I play out, as you say. I yes, I but
And by the way, I use that term because a friend of mine who plays in a band says that all the time. I have
that's
no
right.
idea if that's something that he says or that's an actual
No, that's what we
expression.
say. That's
Okay.
right. You don't hear that many laymen use that phrase exactly, but that's right. I still play it, probably once every year or two. And sometimes what I'm performing has something to do with the film scores, and sometimes it has nothing to do with them. I think it's a good thing to do. There is a one of the pleasures of writing and recording music, such as for film scores, is that you can be just an utter perfectionist. I can take, weeks, months to write the thing, moving the notes exactly where I want them to be. And when we record it, I'm conducting and I get everything exactly the way I want it to be. And when you perform live, it's the opposite. You're riding the wave of that moment, and any mistakes you make, you're going to live with them, and you have to try to justify them if you can with the next note you play. And but I feel there's something morally, good about that, being so much in the moment. And you can't repair anything that happens. I think it's good for people. I think everyone should do it, and so therefore I still do it, even though I'm not a person who loves being on stage. I really actually don't like it, but I do think it's good for me.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I'm not even close to your level, and if given the time, I can get weird about this frame or that frame of creating a story. So I can only
Right.
imagine an entire movie. Is there one score? Because I mean, let me just read through some of the scores that you've written: Fargo, Raising Arizona, John Malkovich, Before Night Falls, Adaptation, Rob Roy, Blood Simple, as you already talked about, Twilight, True Grit, which I absolutely love, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and on and on. I mean, is there one that stands out to you that you go, this was, I don't know, the most me, the most like soulful, I don't know, the one that really represents your work?
Well, as I said already, it's really, I think of the film as a whole. I don't know so much try to, even for myself, I don't really separate the music from the film. I think about when the music really came together with the film, and it was special. And for me, I think one of those would definitely be Fargo, where the writing, the directing, the music, the acting, it all really, I think, creates a special experience. And so that's definitely a favorite of mine.
I was hoping you were going to say Fargo. I loved that movie. In fact, I loved it so much that it actually has made it hard for me to enjoy the show, which is expertly done.
Right.
But the movie was just so perfect in its entirety that I have trouble seeing any other version of it, so to speak.
I know. I hear the show is great, but I also can't really watch it for that same reason. I just, I Fargo the film is its own world and a special world for me, and I'm not really prepared to expand my definition of it.
Yeah, I tried. I got through one season. I said it's great, but it's not the movie. So you're going to come in. What can people expect? It's going to be tomorrow, actually. So I mean, it's
I know.
incredible how time flies. What can people expect if they were to come to your panel, your discussion?
Well, so it's like 90 minutes, and we're gonna show clips, and then in collaboration with John Burlingame, who's a journalist who covers a lot of film music in Hollywood, we're going to discuss each one. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of films, and I'll be telling stories about the good and the bad of how the music ended up the way it did, or how the film ended up the way it did. John will be um, fleshing that out, asking me questions. I think it's going to be interesting. Which is so it's sort of a little bit like informing the audience about how this works, what a film composer does, but also then looking back at films that I think most people will know and talk about. Give you some behind the scenes on how it all ended up the way it did.
Is it still surreal for you? Because, you know, you were obviously very talented in New York City when you linked up with the Coen brothers. You know, here you are, however many years and films later, to have the kind of fame that you do and to be associated with such incredible now American classics. Is it surreal to you still, or is it just kind of part of your daily life?
Well, it can kind of be both. I mean, it's been 40 years, so I can feel the reality of that. But it's been, as we said, with Blood Simple, the luck of having just me and the Coens having met, and the fact that they kept hiring me. I mean, they didn't have to. Like they knew when I did Raising in Arizona, they knew I didn't actually know anything about country music, but they hired me. And when they hired me to do Miller's Crossing, which is an orchestral score, they knew that I didn't know anything about orchestral music, but they hired me. And my wife thinks it's because they're just shy and don't like to meet new people. Um, but there's a lot of luck there. There's a lot of elements. Just like I've been fortunate to meet people like Joel and Ethan who are they're smart, but they're also like nice people, honest, and obviously incredibly skilled. And that's just luck. And it's same again and again. I think most of the people who have reached out to me over the years, like Spike Jones, Todd Haynes, Martin McDonough, Bill Condon. These are amazing filmmakers. Mostly they know me because of my work with Joel and Ethan. So it's all built. I look back in my career and I can kind of see that there's a map there of how it all came together. But still, it's as I've already said, it's not at all something that I had planned for my life. I still don't really have a plan for my life, but it's been good. I've got to say, it's been great. I mean,
Do you
so
know how many successful people say the exact same thing at your stage where it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's next, which I love. I absolutely love. One thing I was wondering about when I looked at the scores that you had written, I didn't say to myself, oh, there is a theme to all of them or a sound. Now, when I went to a John Williams concert where they did kind of a review, if you will, of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, it all, it's John Williams. It has a signature to it. Do you think you have a signature, or have you tried to avoid having that over the years?
well, it is true that when I am choosing a project to work on, I ideally am choosing a project that isn't going to ask me to repeat myself. I don't have to tell you that the way the entertainment industry works is they typically do ask people to repeat themselves because that's sort of a safe bet. It's called typecasting, and um, but fortunately, Joel and Ethan have tried very hard not to repeat themselves, and I do too. So that means I've had the opportunity to try my hand in lots of different areas, lots of different styles of music, different instruments, and I try to view each film as its own little world. So I hopefully it doesn't all sound the same. At that having been said, um, I think there are ways about the way that I hear music and the way that I write music that have some similarities. They're like the way I hear harmonies are different than the way John Williams does, and other people, Tom Newman, another great composer from my generation, and that's or Terence Blanchard, who I think is playing tomorrow night. You can tell that we hear music a little differently, and I don't think you'd mistake my music for any of theirs. Um, but as much as I can, I try not to have my work sound the same from film to film because I want each film really to be its own unique experience.
Yeah, that's a great description. How you hear music differently, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it becomes your own in a way, while also becoming the film's. So, well, I could go on and on, but I've got a half hour, and I've got another guest from Soundtrax coming.
Good.
Carter Burwell is going to be here in Rochester, New York tomorrow as part of Soundtrax Film Festival, and we are just so grateful for so many of the incredibly talented people who are going to be visiting our humble mid-sized city. So, Carter, thank you so much for this wonderful interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to the show tomorrow.
All right. We will talk soon then. for all those watching, coming up, we have more on what's coming up on Soundtrax, and another one of the special guests. And this one is actually the person who's directing the whole thing, putting it all together. So one question I'm going to have is, how do you get someone like Carter Burwell to agree to get on an airplane and come to Rochester, New York? So we will talk with you all in just a moment. Take care. Hi there, everyone. Welcome back. As promised, we're going to continue to talk about Soundtracks. You just heard from Carter Burwell, who's one of the most famous film composers of our time. I'm still kind of plotzing over the fact that I got to talk to him. And right now, we are going to continue our conversation about this incredible festival that you really don't want to miss. One of the co-directors joining us now, Mark Bacco. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time and for putting all of this together.
Thanks. Yeah.
Of course. So, Mark, you are really, it's kind of interesting. You were saying, in a way, it's an interesting path that took you here because you're an engineer at heart. You work for the Hagem School of Engineering at U of R, and here you are with a film music festival that you're putting together. How did that happen?
Well, some years ago, we started a audio engineering program in the engineering school. So I was the chairman of the electrical engineering department, and it was always been an interest of mine. And I had some research collaborations with other faculty at Eastman. So we started this audio engineering program about 15 years ago. And so I've always had an interest in the overlap of technology and music and how both fields drive one another. And so we were here doing that when Mark Waters, my co-director, joined the university. And so Mark and I started talking, and didn't take long to land on the idea of doing a film music festival with a technology bent to it as well.
Incredible. So it's going to be a mixture, for those of you who haven't been following along, between education, so panels, things like that, and performance. So tomorrow we have Terrence Blanchard. He's going to be involved with a performance, and then we have a live performance of the Red Violin score on Friday night, and then Harry Potter on Saturday night, and some other things mixed in. But then the panels, Mark, are incredible. They are bringing in some of the most elite talent. Tomorrow we've got Seth Wright talking about video games with Guy Whitmore, who's the guy. Bambi Moe talking about animation music, and then of course we've got Carter Burwell. How did you land these A-list celebrities within this industry?
Well, it's my co-director Mark Waters. The majority of his career was in Hollywood, and so he knows he has a enviable Rolodex. So he knows just about everyone in the business, and so those sort of folks were people that he knows or worked with. Some of the others, like Guy Whitmore, he's been a friend of our program here for years. He comes and teaches for a week here, teaches our students in our sound design classes. And so we have a network of instructors and professors in this area. And if you just start looking at all the connections, then after a couple of jumps, you can get to just about anyone.
Yeah, but then to arrange all the planes and the accommodations, and it's all coming together. What do you think?
That's right. Well, the first thing I did when we started all this was call my friend Tracy Armstrong, who is was the original organizer of this. And Eastman has jumped in with both feet, and so it's been plenty of work for everybody to get this. Pull this together.
And those panels are open to the public. There's one at 10 a.m., Kilbourne Hall. I think that's the video game one starting things off.
Yes,
yeah.
Tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
like on Friday, so you mentioned that we're doing the Red Violin. So this might be interesting to people. On Friday morning, starting at 9, we're doing so I said this is a conference about technology and music and how they fit together. So we're looking at some 18th century technology, and we're doing a panel on Stradivarius violins, which the Red Violin is Stradivarius, and what makes them so great. And so we have one of the world experts, a fellow named Bruno Price, from New York City, and he's bringing several Stradivarius violins with him. And Eastman has one as well. The soloist for the Red Violin plays the Eastman Stradivarius. And so we're going to do a program where You get to hear a bunch of different violins and what makes them so good, and the experts are going to tell people what you're listening for and what are the features that make them so great. So that's 18th century technology, and then we're doing 21st century technology and like augmented reality video experiences. We have a company called The Spatialists that's coming, and they're making immersive video for music videos for the Apple Vision Pro, the AR interface. And they're just amazing. We're going to be doing demos of that during the day so people can sign up and go have a personal demo of that kind of thing. So it's everything from 18th century to 21st century technology.
It is remarkable, and that's really where your expertise comes in, especially how we receive sound. And you look at the meta glasses, and the sound is up here, but you hear it here, and it's just it's interesting how the ear works and how we're redirecting sound.
Yeah, that's one of my main research interests, and I don't want to ruin the mood by talking about research.
This is why I asked about it. No, please.
But when there are legions of disappointed consumers who go to Best Buy and they buy the latest 5.1 surround sound system, and then they set it up and it just doesn't sound right. And so the interaction of the sound reproduction with the room that you're in is critically important to give the effects that you want. And so we study how do you model and measure systems like that so that you can design them and get them right the first time and not have to go back and fix things later on. And so that's a big interest. And a part of that is how your brain processes sound from both ears. So we have a whole session on immersive sound on this. And so it goes from like immersive sound for the cinema, so things like Dolby Atmos, where you're sitting in a room with 64 speakers surrounding you. So we have some people doing demonstrations and talking about that. But then down to the personal level, where you have like a augmented or visual or a virtual reality headset, and where the sound comes out of a little speaker somewhere near your ear. And so how do you create the sense of immersion with images and sound that are linked together? So it's very important when you're doing this kind of thing. You've got the images and the sound have to agree. If you see an image of something somewhere, then you have to make sure that people get the right sound cues so it sounds to them like it's coming from there. So if you don't get that, if you don't get those connected together seamlessly, you ruin the illusion.
There's no question about it. And you know what? I just made a mental note. Yeah, you're gonna be back, and we're gonna talk about how to set up your room
Okay.
to properly listen to those great music, live music performances if you want to do that, or a movie, something. So you can save yourself some serious aggravation and maybe some cash too.
That's right.
So when it comes to AI, we're going to be talking about that in one of the panels. What do you hope to hear about?
Well, we have a combination of people coming from industry who are really pushing the envelope on what the capabilities of AI are. Folks coming from Yamaha and Sony and talking about that. And then we have other people who are working composers, musicians, and they're going to be talking about what tools they actually use and what they find useful and what isn't useful. And so that's one of the driving factors in everything we do at the university, and the collaboration between engineering and Eastman School, is that you have to have a constant dialogue so that the engineers are creating tools that are actually useful for the musicians, and then the musicians have to tell the engineers what they want in clear terms. And so the session is really trying to pull together the people from the two sides of that dialogue and take a look at what is available now and where it's going, what the near future is going to bring, and talk about some of the concerns and wishes for what direction it's going to go.
Breaking away from Soundtrax and the panels, I was just curious to know, from your experience, you've been in a lot of places before, venues, music venues, film venues. What's your number one that you go to and the sound is as good as it gets?
Well, the auditorium theater is pretty good. The sound is.
That's great.
And I'm not here to say negative things about anywhere.
Yeah, no, I know.
But there's a lot of my own university's major auditorium has always had challenges, and the Eastman Theater or Kodak Hall, it's been fixed a couple of times over the years, but that is quite good. Actually, the best place right now in Rochester, I think, is Hatch Hall at the Eastman School.
Yeah.
It's a 222 seat, very small, relatively small place, but the sound is great because it was designed with sound in mind from the start. Eastman Theater was designed with movies in mind, and the silent movies with an organist playing typically, and so it was just designed different.
Yeah, no, look, I get it. So here's what I've said a couple times, one time in the podcast, another few times to friends, is this is the type of festival that when it's over, people are going to be talking about it and they'll go, I wish I knew about this. Now, it's been promoted. I'm just saying it's one of those, it's new. It's the first time we've done this, so it's not like the Jazz Fest where, so I think it's going to have legs because this stuff is going to be interesting to a lot of people. What do you think about the build-up? I mean, you must see the magic that's about to unfold.
Yeah, it's the first year. This is the first. We had a 0th one of these a couple of years ago. There's another Harry Potter film that the RPO did, and we brought in the composer for that score from England, and it was just one guy, and he gave some talks, and trying to remember his name, but terrible with names, but so that was our dry run about 2-3 years ago, and so it's we've opened this up and want to make it really accessible to everyone to come down, so that's all the day events are free, and the concerts are quite reasonably priced. Sound like kind of advertising.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Hey, we got to. Here, it's so true.
But you have to make an investment to get these things started because even something huge like South by Southwest in Austin, took decades to get to where it is now. Oh. And the Jazz Fest, it's been I don't know how long, 20 years.
15, 20. Yeah, no, it's well, hey, Mark, thanks for making the time. And more than that, thank you for doing this. This is very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to enjoying some of what you and Mark have helped to bring to town and your entire team.
Thanks.
So
we'll see you there.
All right.
Okay.
Mark Bacco talking with us about the incredible film music festival, the Soundtrax. Go online, seek it out. It's going to be awesome. We're going to continue to talk to some of the amazing talent that's coming to town here on the Adam Interview Special. And if you haven't done so already, tell your friends, your family, everyone about the Rochester First app. We are just cramming it full of amazing stuff, local content that you can enjoy, and then in this case, use to your own advantage. Take care, everyone.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 On Demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.